Welcome back to another session of Your Voice, Your Choice, the Greater Cleveland Community Show, which seeks to empower, offer good information, tell you about individuals moving and shaking in the community and doing what needs to be done to advance the Greater Cleveland community. We're here at North Point Towers still shooting 26151 Lakeshore Boulevard on the beautiful shores of Lake Erie. And boy, when I look out this window and see that lake, it is so beautiful. I could see myself waking up with a cup of coffee in my hand and going to the window to look out and being calmed by the beautiful Lake Erie. But we're not going to go on and on about Lake Erie because we've got three great guests who are doing some wonderful work in the Greater Cleveland area. We'll be back in a few moments with more of Your Voice, Your Choice.
My first important relationship, but I never expected my partner to be a problem drinker. My therapist sent me to Al-Anon meetings. I never felt comfortable with other people, but I decided to take his advice. I went to meetings with an open mind and my world started to open up. Are you troubled by someone's drinking? You might be surprised at what you could learn in an Al-Anon family group meeting from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON.
The biggest blessing in life is to realize your personal power.
So many of us wonder, why are we living? Well, that's why we're living, to help others.
Community work brings families closer together.
When we help each other, we all get healthier.
Doing good for others, doing positive action always comes back around and enriches your life. It's the biggest gift you could ever give yourself.
Doing good is good for all of us.
Please join us in volunteering.
Improve your health by helping others. Visit iparticipate.org.
Welcome back. I'm here with James Box, Robert Wooder, and Pat say it for me, Pat Ivory, right?
That's correct.
That's not that difficult. I don't know why I got so tongue-tied. Okay, but let's move on. I made my first mistake for today. Okay, and all three of you are what is known as peacemakers. I know that Robert, you're an outreach worker, and James, you supervise outreach workers. So several of them reporting to you. And Pat, you're the case manager. But you are all a part of the Cleveland Peacemakers Alliance, and thereby you're all peacemakers of one sort or another. Okay, so we just will refer to you henceforth as peacemakers. Okay, cool. And then you can tell us specifically what role you play in peacemaking. Okay. So I don't know which of you to start. All of you are so interesting. I don't know which one to start with. Who should I start with? Don't everybody answer at the same time, okay?
I'm the senior person, but I'm going to decline. I'm going to let Pat go.
Okay. Pat, tell us, what is the Cleveland Peacemakers Alliance?
It's a collaborative effort of diversionary agencies that have come together, and what we do is we meet the needs in the community with at-risk youth, with crisis prevention, crisis intervention, at a level that most people would not probably go to.
Okay.
And the reason it's the way it is because the outreach workers and the people that work with this organization are available 24/7.
Yeah.
24/7.
A lot of people have a hard time.
And they have a real heart
Mm-hmm.
and a real love and sincere approach toward reaching that culture.
Okay.
And their approach is, I've found to be incomparable.
Okay.
And I come out of another field of work.
Okay.
But in working with them,
Mm-hmm.
these last 2 months have been very, very interesting for me and very rewarding.
Pat, what brought you to this type of work?
I would have to say the Lord networking through a very dear friend of mine who actually used to be a part of this organization, who was very good friends with Mr. Box. And he felt when there was an opening that was brought to his attention,
Okay.
he felt that I would be a good candidate because
Okay.
we worked very closely in the prison ministry together.
Okay, prison ministry.
So he knows me in the spirit realm, but he also knows me as an individual.
Okay.
And he knows me as a person, as a friend,
Okay.
as a sister, and he knows my character.
Okay.
He knows my administrative abilities, and he knew what the job needed, what they
Okay.
were calling for.
Okay.
Because I'm an interpersonal skill type person.
Okay.
So quite naturally, he told me about it. I submitted my resume,
Mhm.
and I was called to interview, and I met with an executive assistant,
Okay.
and they felt that I met the criteria as a case manager.
Okay.
And all the skills that I've used over the years have been really now being implanted into this position.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And either one of you can answer this question. What's the target population that you work with?
Target population is middle school to the high school, or formerly incarcerated, gang-involved youth
Okay.
around the city of Cleveland that have been involved in any type of violent acts or antisocial behavior.
Okay. Okay. Now, these are people who have already done it, right? Who have already been involved in violent activity. Do you guys do anything with people who haven't been involved yet, but because of the environment in which they're placed, they're at risk to become involved? Do you guys do any programming along that order?
About maybe 65 to 75% of the youth that we deal with are on the crust
Okay.
of becoming, because of the environment. See, in the part of our program, the American program, we teach life management skills, and we find that behavioral scientists say children as young as 2 years of age, their fundamental attitudes and habits are determined by their total societal surrounding. So their attitudes and habits are determined by what they're influenced by in the community.
Okay.
So if you got a large gang population in the southeast side of Cleveland, you got kids that never been involved in gangs, but they live in that environment, they become a part of that.
Right.
Because sometimes it's just for survival.
Right.
You know, they have to go to school, they gotta pass by.
Mhm.
So if they see their friend getting jumped in school, they live on that same street, and they don't help, then they're gonna have to deal with them when they get back home.
Gotcha.
So some just do it just for the sake of survival.
Okay.
Because there's really nothing else out there for them to do.
Okay. Tell me something. What services do you, but before I go to that, Pat, you described it as a collaborative, okay? Can you run down to me the other organizations that work hand in hand with the Alliance, or that are a part of the Alliance, right? Is that correct?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Can you run those down for me?
This Cleveland CRB, Cleveland Relations Board,
Community relations.
Community Reentry,
Mhm.
Cleveland Boys and Girls Club,
American?
American, that's where they started from, and that's what
Okay.
they're still with,
Okay.
which was what Jim Brown founded.
Oh, okay,
Peace
cool.
in the Hood,
Okay,
No Return,
okay,
Most Valuable Purpose Incorporated,
okay. Excellent, excellent. And all of
Jordan
you,
Community Resource.
and Guardian Angels and
Jordan Community
Jordan
Resource.
Community Resource
okay,
Corporation.
in a minute, I'm gonna revisit the Guardian Angels, because I know that they have a history here in Cleveland, but I personally haven't heard much from them of late, and I didn't even know that they were still active. So that's one of the things that we're gonna talk about when we come back, just because I wanna know, and I'm sure if the question is in my mind, it's in the mind of our audiences. So we'll be back in a few more moments with the Cleveland Pacemakers Alliance on Your Voice, Your Choice. He knows what you mean.
Now, Gerald, at this point, where you think you have came from in opposed to when I first met you?
Calm down a whole lot. Ain't as violent. I want to fight everybody. I'm trying to make more friends because I don't worry about how people talk about me anymore, stuff like that. So everything a lot better.
So right now, if I was just to call you out your name or just put my finger in your face or something, what you would do?
Laugh,
Why would you laugh?
because you don't mean it. And it's immature.
So if I did mean it, what would you do?
Just walk away. There ain't no point in fighting nobody in the world.
So what if I just keep calling you out your name?
Just don't walk away. What's the point? The fighting anymore. There's no reason
So
to fight.
no more taking off your shirts and no more just acting silly going through class,
Nah.
schools, none of that.
Woodard, members of the Cleveland Pacemakers Alliance, and we've been talking off camera about the organization, what they do, how they do it, when they do it. And, you know, Robert had been kind of quiet. Pat and James have been doing most of the talking. But we started talking about the 24-hour commitment, and he lit up. Robert, what's that 24-hour commitment all about? What does that mean?
Well, it's not just about really like saving lives, but we do have a protocol.
Okay.
It's because protocol actually come directly from Mr. James Buckley, this is boss, and Mr. Grady Stevenson.
Okay.
It's a chain of command that we actually have, that we have to be dispatched to that particular area.
Okay.
So if a 911 alert come in, they would get the call first. And whichever organization is actually within that area,
Okay.
that organization have to respond. But if they need immediate help and attention, they would dispatch to 114, and then they would dispatch extra help to go to that area and assist with any assistance that they may need.
24/7,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you could be wakened up out of your bed at
3
3
o'clock
o'clock in the morning,
Yes.
and you gotta go.
Go, yes.
And what do you do when you get there? Robert?
Actually, my job is to get there, crowd control,
Okay.
instruct the people, things of that nature, people going against the police and things of that nature.
Okay.
And our job is just to mainly calm the crowd down.
Okay.
Just let the police do their job, and we do our job.
Okay, now you obviously have to have a presence in the community so that when you show up, you've got the attention of the young people, because you know how that crowd mentality works.
Yes.
You know, so when you show up, do you find that you've got the attention of them, or as much as you can in the crowd?
It depends on the crowd and what situation it may be, because certain situations is different prior to the incident that's going on at that moment. If
Okay.
you're dealing with a shooting, it's totally different, because sometimes when kids or family, it's just at a moment where they just don't care about the police, don't care about us. That's when we got to go to a special tactic when necessary to get the crowd control.
Okay, okay. Wow. You really are out there on the front line. Pat, what are some of the other services that you offer through the Peacemakers Alliances?
Tutoring,
Tutoring.
mentoring services.
Okay,
We engage them with social activities.
okay,
We have an assessment that we do when we go to the home visits
Okay.
primarily, and to find out what their needs really are.
okay,
We have a youth pages that has been, that's used by the city, by the county, that we can refer them out to any agency, as well as our member agencies that are with us in the collaborative. But we can refer them out depending on what their needs
Okay.
are.
wow,
And all we do is do a referral. The organization CPA is well known by the justice system.
okay,
And we have young people that are actually mandate into some of our programs to be overseen by that particular agency.
okay. James, how did you actually get involved in this?
Well, I'm an ex-offender. I spent 9.5 years of my life incarcerated.
Okay,
I've been out of prison over 30 years, but
okay,
me and Jim Brown met back in 1990,
okay,
and he asked me to become a part of his family.
okay,
He tells people I'm his son.
okay,
You know what I'm saying? I've stayed at his house. He indoctrinated me with his philosophy of American,
okay,
and basically supported my efforts, because I was already doing the work on the streets in the early 90s, working with gangs and whatnot, trying to get them a better quality of life, show them opportunities that were available, and there was no funding, so he provided the necessary funding
okay,
along with Art Modell from the Cleveland Browns and Bill Belichick back then.
okay.
So
Excellent.
that was the driving force behind pushing us to where we are today.
Right. Robert, now, earlier when we were off camera, I asked the same question of you about how you got involved with it, and now here you are doing the same thing and trying to impact the other young people. But you were in a part of that at-risk group, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did we've only got a short period of time for this segment, but how did they get you out of that and turn your life around? Because you are a success story with regard to this program.
Well, oftentimes I wanted to do it because growing up in the church, and even with that time, I used to just see boxing, there's people out there marching in black, and I always wanted to do that type of work, but I was still into the street life. And every time Box would come marching down the street, he'd be like, hey, come on, man, get with me. I'd be like, yeah, I'm coming, but I ain't ready now, man. Now you can do that stuff, whatever you're doing. And that's just how I was. And at that point, it was just like, you know, I want something different, but is I'm ready for it.
Right.
So the time presented itself when I seen him again, and he was like, man, come on. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I said, I'm going to just try it one time. And if it don't work, I ain't never messing with it again. And actually, when I tried it, it was a good experience because he never let me down. He said, look, I'm going to hold you, I'm going to make sure you get to that. There's times when I went back to the streets, the brothers would be at the house knocking on the door, that ain't no good life, man, this and that. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear that, man. I'm doing me. This is what I do. I ain't trying to hear that. And he like...
Robert, that's out of sight, man, because it just shows what can happen, how two different forces can pull at you. And thank God that James won out. I'm going to cut it off right now, and we'll be back in just a few moments with Pat Ivory, James Box, and Robert Woodard, the Cleveland Pacemakers Alliance. See you in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Jan Scruggs, founder of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. When I look at the wall, I see more than names. I see the faces of the brave Americans who served their country. I see the faces of my friends. An education center is being built on the National Mall to make these faces visible for everyone who visits and to tell all Americans about the lives of these heroes. Learn what you can do to help. Thank you.
James, you started to, Lottie, our producer, asked the question, when you go into these violent situations that are ready to erupt, how do the police know, and equally as important, how do the people that are involved in the fracas as perpetrators, for lack of a better word, know that you're there to make peace and not to become a part of the confusion?
Well, first of all, we've been doing this I've been doing it for over 30 years, and other individuals have been doing this just as long, if not longer. So our reputation precedes us in the community. We have a pretty decent working relationship with the Cleveland Police Department. The Chief of Police and the Deputy Chief of Police know who we are. They support what we do. Everyone that's a part of the Cleveland Pacemakers Alliance have been through 60-something hours of training with the police department and other agencies around the city of Cleveland to prepare them. And also we go to the different districts through the roll calls with the officers so they can see who the individuals are that are working within their districts. Each Peace Alliance outreach worker wears a badge. They also have a green band that says Cleveland Pacemakers Alliance, an armband that they wear, the Guardian Angels wear, MVP, Peace in the Hood.
James, can you show us that badge? Can you show the audience? James or Robert? Show them this badge. Can you come in tight on that?
And on that badge, you'll notice it says a volunteer because they're volunteer outreach workers for the city of Cleveland. And the city of Cleveland's director, which is my director, Blaine Griffin, he supports this endeavor as well as the mayor of the city of Cleveland, Frank Jackson.
The Guardian Angels, they're a part of the Cleveland Pacemakers Alliance. You know what, to be quite honest, until we started doing this, I wasn't aware that they were still around. Where are they operating?
They're on the west side of Cleveland.
West side, lower west side, upper west side?
Lower west side.
Lower west side, okay. And they're still doing their thing?
Absolutely. They're doing a great job on the west side, in the first and the second district.
Okay.
They're one of the most progressive groups within our organization.
Okay. Pat, what's your biggest challenge as an administrator in this organization? I mean, you got to have a million different things coming at you at the same time, right?
Well, when I was doing prison ministry, I had an opportunity to actually talk to dads on a level where they would understand how the children felt with a missing dad out of the home. Now I'm going to the homes and I'm seeing the children that have missing dads that are in the prisons. The same way with the moms.
Okay.
And I get torn, but at the same time I feel very blessed to be able to help them.
Okay.
To bring something positive into their lives, such as the mentors that the programs provide.
Okay.
Plus meeting the needs that they may have.
Okay.
So I feel good about that aspect of it.
Good. Good. Yeah, these guys great to work with. Are they easy to work with?
They really are. I tell you, I've been blown away. I've been working for over 40-some years. And I've never worked with a group of people that were so dedicated and so sold out to what they do.
Okay.
With no questions asked.
Okay.
And I work very closely with Robert because we work the same American agency. And the mothers love him. The young people have a deep respect for him.
Okay.
I don't care how hard they are.
Okay.
They love this guy.
Okay.
That's all I can say. And I just respect them so much.
Well, I mean, based on what I've heard, he keeps it real. He shows up. He comes through on his commitment. And I think stuff like that goes a long way with anybody, but in particular with young people, because a lot of promises have been broken to them over time. And I'm not just talking about promises that people close to them have made, but promises the society has made, and for whatever reason hasn't come through on. So I want to applaud all of you for the work that you're doing, because it's real important. And James, tell me some more about your relationship with Jim Brown and how do you say Amir Ican? Tell me some more about that.
Well, my relationship with Jim goes back to the early 90s. He came to Cleveland. He was going, when Mayor White was the mayor, he was going downtown to the City Hall to the Black on Black Crime Committee hearings. I was on my way, I was running late because I had to go get my daughter. She was 5 at the time. She's 27 now. I seen him coming out of the room. I said, there goes Jim Brown. That's James Brown. And he walked up and he started talking about how pretty she was. I didn't know he already knew who I was. He asked me to take him to his hotel. And when I took him to the hotel, we got to talking to him. He said, I want you to become a part of my family. Okay. Flew me to LA, taught me the curriculum, trained me, and sent me back here. And just where we are today. You know, we have a real heavy relationship. I'm like a son to him. He tells everybody I'm his son. I fly around the country to train people in Florida, Chicago, wherever we got the program at, that's where I go.
Okay. Robert, had James not, you probably shudder to think of where you might be if he hadn't intervened, if he hadn't kept trying.
Yeah, and because we talk about it all the time, you know, and even like a year or so ago, even when things really started picking up, you know, because I still had opportunities that really presented itself for me. But at the same time, he said, no, just don't go and stick it out. It's going to be good. It's going to get better. Because he's a strong believer in Jesus Christ and get you there. And he has got me on that path where I needed to get back to sometimes. So for me, like, man, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear nothing you got to say. And he'd be like, hey, man, well, you know how Jim is. And it's like, if you know Jim, you don't want to get that call. You don't want to get a call from Box neither when he on one of them bossy days. You just don't want to get one of them days. And it's like, you know what? I'm still at work. I can't get out of order and out of line because I'm still at work at the same time. So it's one thing to be a friend, but as a boss, ooh, it's a whole. I wish he could just be a friend all day long. You know, just be honest with you.
Okay, I'm digging it. That's cool. Anything else you guys want to add? Any of you?
Let me say this.
Go
As
ahead.
far as with us, as far as outreach workers, we not the police. We not undercovers. No, none of that.
Okay.
We do not specialize in that. A lot of times, people might look at us.
Robert, I want to stop you right there because I'm getting the wrap-up sign, but I'm going to come back to that on the back end. Okay. Stay with us. The story gets more and more interesting and more exciting as the more and more we talk about it. We'll be back just.
Look, Timmy's in trouble again.
I told you to stay out of here! Come on, loser!
Oh, you never see that happen.
If you see abuse or neglect, learn what you can do at BeHumane.org.
Let's talk about it. James, talk to me about what we were talking about off camera.
Well, basically, you know, we're talking about perceptions as well. A lot of times, I tell my guys when in the schools, I'm no nonsense.
Okay.
As far as dealing with street work, outreach workers, because we know young people carry 9mm, Tech 9s from 12 to 25. They packing. So I had to make sure that my guys is on the one. They ready at all times, so we don't have time to be playing with them.
Right.
And then we go into schools. We let our guys deal with the young men, and we let the sisters deal with the young sisters, because the perception sometimes is greater than the reality.
Right.
Somebody can perceive something that's not really what it is,
Right.
so we don't have no interaction physically with them hugging or touching or nothing like that, so nobody gets the wrong impression, because people out there don't like us because the work we do is so good. There's a lot of people jealous of what we do. The motivating factor behind what we all do, we don't separate our relationship with Jesus Christ with the work that we do, because that's the motivating factor that motivates us to do what we do, regardless of the job. If we didn't have the job, we'd still be doing this anyway.
Absolutely.
Because we were doing it before we got the job. So when the job is gone, it's still our job, it's still our mission, it's still our call, it's still our passion. So that's what motivates us to do what we do.
Robert, you were saying something before we cut out on the last segment.
Well, at this point, we're not police, we're not informers, we're not snitches, we're not none of that. We're just community activists that's giving back to the community from where we came from when we want to make a good call in our community for the people.
Out of sight. Pat, we want people to know more about you. Very quickly, if you would, give us your website.
Pacemakersalliance.org. PEACEMAKERS, one word, Alliance, ALLIANCE.org.
Great, great. Listen, thank all three of you for being here. But more importantly than that, thank you for the work that you're doing out there in the community. And thank you for being here with us. And we'll see you next time.
I was so inspired by your animation and your thoughts of when you felt about the music. And that was one of the reasons how me and you really constantly connected on that base about music. And it kind of fell in line with the respect was kind of there for me and you at the same time. So give a little elaboration on that.
Well, I really got that mindset from not only you, but this producer that I have worked with. And he just like fed me stuff about the music game and how you gotta get back to the old, but still incorporate the new.